Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2019. Last year we got our first look at Control, the surreal-looking new game from Remedy, the studio behind Max Payne and Alan Wake, and it looks like it's come a very long way since then, and it now has a release date. Please welcome IGN's Ryan McCaffrey and Thomas and Mikhail from Remedy. Hey guys, thanks for coming by.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Ryan, you got a chance to play this.
Yes, I've had a chance to play twice. First at GDC, and I was like, okay, everything about this game appeals to me. Hopefully playing it will confirm that, or hopefully not deny it. It totally confirmed it. I really, because I love all your guys' games, and then I played it again recently for the E3 build, and it just sort of reinforced to me that, okay, well, the mechanics, figured that those are great, but turns out then there's like a really surreal, cool story going on here too. I think what I'm sort of curious to start with here with you guys is
the directorial override.
What are kind of the lessons learned, gameplay-wise, narratively? Like, what are the lessons applied from Remedy's very rich history of Max Payne and Alan Wake and Quantum Break that have been applied to Control to try and make it the best game you guys have ever made?
You want to take that one?
Oh, yeah. I'll start. So I think one of the key things, and it's not really like a lesson, but something that's just kind of reinforced itself over and over again, is the importance of having really solid foundation for the gameplay. That it's just satisfying to go through this experience. Use of the different abilities, weapons, and everything that you do feels right and gratifying, responsive, and immediate. And making sure that that foundation is solid. And then it's something that you can support through, of course, having an exciting, interesting world and a good story and so on. But there needs to be a good, solid foundation. It's just fun to play. The moment you grab the controller and start doing things, it is satisfying.
I guess for people that might not be super familiar, I mean, they're watching footage of it now, like the star of the game almost feels like the building itself. You guys have kind of explain what the brutalist architecture and how sort of you play with space in this game.
I have to say this guy is also plays an interesting part in the game, suffice to say.
With the building, so because we're doing a pretty surreal experience, strange phenomena, weird things that you witness over and over again, it's important we find something relatable, understandable, clear, and simple in a way as the kind of foundation of this environment. And that's how the oldest house came to be, this brutalistic location. Everything you see is what you get, concrete, steel, glass, wood, and so on. Yeah. And then we layer on top of that all of that weird stuff, the strange supernatural phenomena, what's going on with the hiss, and so on. So you see something that's relatable that you understand, but then you have the weird stuff on top of that. That creates that interesting contrast in the experience.
Now, something new for you guys is there's side missions in this game. It's not just a linear action adventure path. So what's sort of the goal there, and how far can you kind of wander off the beaten path and just get lost in the world?
Pretty far, I'd say. We're watching mission 3 here, and it's like that mission is the first time when the game starts to kind of open up. You do revisit this area, well, especially if you want to do some of the side missions that kind of take you around the building more so. And it's just, for us, there's a lot of new things in Control, not necessarily like in games, but especially for Remedy doing sort of the main storyline and then supporting that through side missions. The side missions just give us a great chance of going even weirder. Like, it's a good way to sort of explore some of the other characters and their backgrounds, as well as sort of Bureau's past, and yeah, just go a bit crazy.
Yeah, and I would add that in all the previous games that we've done, we spent a lot of time creating a believable, deep, rich world. But then we have this linear story that we are telling, and it doesn't give you a lot of room to go and do other things. And this time we felt like, let's start with the world itself, because we have all of these interesting other ideas as well that we want to explore that might not have anything to do with the main campaign. And in Control, like, we have this chance to actually tell these other types of stories as well, to create an even more complex, interesting experience.
The thing I really like is the sense of isolation. Like, there are characters around there, but it has this feeling of sort of working the night shift at an office. It's it is almost like aggressively, horrifyingly mundane. Like you know, we see all these games where you're like climbing mountaintops and exploring space, and you're like, no, this is a creepy ass office building. Do you see like the sort of the outside of this? Are there outside areas or?
Isolation was definitely an aspect of what we wanted this to feel like, that you're kind of locked into this place with this unsettling, strange force that has corrupted and taken over almost every other human. So you're locked in this place with that. And having said that, it's an infinite space seemingly, so it's a large, complex location, and nobody really knows how large that is.
I have to say,
yeah.
you described it incredibly. You made boring sound beautiful, or mundane sound beautiful. Amazing.
And the mundane bit is what I love. Like, you have supernatural enemies, and then you throw filing cabinets at them. And that's just awesome, right? Like, you know, use relatable, understandable things to defeat these crazy supernatural enemies, and that's part of the fun.
Well, you sort of referenced there the telekinetic powers that you have, and I'm sort of curious, what are some of your favorite combos to do in the game, of ways to dispatch enemies, or just maybe favorite individual powers, or even, you know, when people fire this up on August 27th, where should I put my skill points at first?
I think I'll let you answer, but quickly, I think that's the really good point, that we're excited about that when this game comes out. We don't know, right? Like, there's going to be things players are going to be doing that we had no idea that you can do. We were pretty amazed at like how sort of flexible the whole physics system is.
Yes.
And all that. And now that the game is kind of like finally together, we're like, oh, you can do these things in the game. So I'm really excited when the game comes out, and also scared to see what players can do.
Yeah,
favorites.
It's you know, I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen when people actually get their hands on this game, and yeah, a bit scared as well, but we'll see.
Because the testers will always just break it for you, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll come up with crazy new ways to use the powers.
But if they're having fun, I see no harm in that. And to me, levitation is the thing. Honestly, it's when you get to fly, and you can use all the abilities together with levitation. So you can combine it in different ways. You can do evade, you can bring up your shield up in there, you can blast your shield downwards towards the enemies. It opens up so many different possibilities once you get that ability.
Would you say this is sort of a Metroidvania in the way it's laid out?
Absolutely. Metroidvania was one of the kind of a key starting points for this world. We wanted to create a world that you want to return to, and as you go through the experience, you see a lot of different opportunities on your path, like possible side missions, other locations, but you can't get to them yet. So you need to go further down into the game and do more main missions sometimes, or find other elements, and then you can return to the location that you previously visited.
Yeah, it's like when you finally do get levitate, then you're like, oh, what was that area I saw like in the first hour or two, and then you can go back and venture out and reach all new places and all that. And that's, I mean, we have that up and running, like it works in the game, and it really is coming together well.
I love that because it kind of hides it too. It kind of obscures it because everything is so kind of grounded aesthetically. It's not like you walk by like an orange door and you're like, I need the orange thing to open that. It seems like you can sort of hide the other pathways in the background almost.
Oh, we do have keys.
There are keys.
We do have keys. They might not be orange, but we talked about the mundane, but I think that's when Mikael said that the building is almost kind of infinite. Like, trust me, there's a lot of really visually crazy spaces in the game.
Well, for me, a key part of the visual identity of this game, where I could see just one frame of this game and know right away that it's Control, is the lighting. There's just such interesting use of color and the way that the game is lit. I mean, how far along in the process was the idea for the game, the story, the gameplay, married to the actual look of it?
The idea for the lighting actually was established really early on. It follows brutalistic principles. You need to lit up brutalistic spaces in a very specific way, and it creates this very graphic, clear visual tone for these locations. And that was established early on, together with Janne Pulkkinen, who's the art director for this game. He's done a wonderful job in establishing this really unique visual identity for the game that we're really happy about. So that was established quite early on, but of course, as we build these complex locations and so on, lighting is one of the things that comes in quite late. So that's been happening pretty much throughout this year, I would say, that we're getting some final lighting in place.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Now, something I saw an image online of the, we can kind of see it there. The gun is something just completely alien. It's just, it's like if you made a Glock out of the monolith from 2001. There's just something weird happening there. But at the same time, we saw like the janitor or one of the guys you're talking to has these like almost just these sort of 80s B-movie looking pieces of technology on there. Where does this lie historically? Like, I feel like you've got a bit of...
I believe the alien technology referencing is the Walkman, a cassette tape player. Not the Walkman.
He's talking about the HRA devices.
Oh, the HRA devices, yeah, those as well. But the janitor is wearing.
Yeah, there's a sort of cassette futurism for what the janitor's wearing.
So you really were talking about the Walkman?
Yeah.
No, I mean not specifically the Walkman, but there's a kind of dated, element to some of the.
No, absolutely. So I mean, the game does take place in present day. I mean, we kind of like the only time you're kind of outside is like pretty much in the opening shot that kind of establishes that, and then after that you're inside the building. But it is present day. But there's story reasons why or why the Bureau tech is old. There's reasons for that. Yes, we do like the aesthetic, of course, as well. But all these sort of weird, strange forces that the Bureau deals with, they just have a harder time tampering with older equipment rather than new. And when you start playing the game, there's all these warning signs and documents you pick up, and like no mobile phones, no tablets or no nothing, because they're very dangerous items inside the Bureau.
Quick last question for me as a longtime fan of Remedy games: will there be a new Poets of the Fall song hidden in this game somewhere that shows up in all of your games? Okay, I guess that says it all. I mean, I love hearing that stuff in your games.
Yeah,
Very nice.
no comment. We're very good friends with the band.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming by. Control is out for Xbox One, PS4, and PC on August 27th, which is nice. That's this year. That's soon. And we'll definitely have more coverage on IGN. But right now, there is lots more E3 coming your way, so stick around. You don't want to miss a second.